It was a warm morning in the small town of Rosedale, where the gentle hum of life went on uninterrupted. The townsfolk, a tightly knit community, all knew each other, and every face was familiar. In the midst of them lived Martin, a man whose reputation for being irritable and unkind had followed him like a shadow. The story begins in the town's quaint grocery store. Sally, the kind-hearted store owner, noticed Martin entering with a scowl that seemed permanently etched on his face. As always, people avoided his gaze, fearing a rude word or a sharp glare. "Good morning, Martin," Sally greeted him with her usual warmth, that morning hoping for a change. "What's good about it?" Martin grumbled in response, shuffling past without another word. But something unusual happened that day. As Martin left the store, he stumbled over a small, unattended puppy curled up by the entrance. Rather than barking angrily at it, as one might expect, Martin unexpectedly paused. His eyes softened just a little, and for a fleeting moment, the mask he wore slipped away. Sally, observing this shift, felt a spark of hope flicker within her. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to Martin than what met the eye. Days turned into weeks, and Sally began noticing small changes in Martin. He smiled back, albeit uncertainly, at customers who greeted him, and the grumbling became less frequent. It was subtle at first, but it was there, unmistakable. Encouraged by this, and spurred by her belief in the goodness of people, Sally decided to take a chance. She offered him a part-time job at the store, something to keep him occupied and perhaps lessen his brooding. Martin, surprisingly, accepted. At first, he was hesitant and awkward, but with each passing day, the townsfolk began to see his softening. He chatted, albeit briefly, with customers and even exchanged a few jokes with the regulars. It was a transformation that seemed almost magical to those who had known him. One evening, as Martin was closing up the store, Sally decided to speak with him. "Martin," she began gently, "I've noticed a change in you. What happened?" Martin paused, the weight of his past almost tangible in the silence that followed. He said slowly, "For the longest time, I imagined that I couldn't change, like I was stuck being the way I was. But that little puppy, on that day, showed me something different. It saw me, not as the man others feared or disliked, but just as I was. It needed warmth, and in giving what little I had, I received something in return." Sally nodded, encouragement evident in her eyes. Martin continued, "Sometimes we imagine people can't change, that it's impossible. But in order not to be disappointed, perhaps we should not imagine that change is beyond them." Inspired by Martin's revelation, the townsfolk gradually shed their preconceived notions about one another, realizing that kindness and understanding could kindle change in ways they hadn't expected. The lesson that Martin's transformation taught was simple yet profound. Everyone deserves a second chance, and we are all capable of change, no matter how deeply entrenched our past might be. In the heart of Rosedale, Martin's story became a testament to the power of kindness, and people often shared the tale with an encouraging message that transformed their small community.